If you're thinking about buying a home here in Florida's Space Coast, one of the first questions you need to ask yourself is, do I want a new build or a resale home? Of course, new builds will have that shiny new builder smell to it. It'll have the latest in new home warranties and updated decor. A resale home may have things like a better location, larger rooms, a little bit more storage, and of course more mature landscaping and a more fully finished neighborhood than what you would get with a new build. In this video, we're not just going to look at the pros and cons. I'm going to give you an insider Floridian viewpoint on some of the things you may not be thinking about when you're thinking about the pros and cons of new builds versus resales. My name is Lee Johnson and I'm a realtor with Brownfield Real Estate Group. I created this channel because I love to work with people considering relocating to Florida, and there was a real need to provide more information on things you might not consider and things you do consider that you just don't know how to find out about without coming down here. Well, I'm going to save you a little bit of time. If you just go down below and hit the like and subscribe buttons, then you'll get more of my videos and hopefully answer so many of the questions that are running through your head right now. Of course, while you're down there, you'll also see I have a buyer relocation guide that's full of information. I hope you'll take a moment to fill out that and get that in your inbox in no time flat. Now let's talk about money. New construction homes may look like they're more expensive up front, and you don't even think about it. But the difference with new construction homes is the builders that offer incentives to get you to purchase from them. We could be talking about assistance with closing costs or what they call flex cash that you can use towards closing costs, improvements in the home, heck, even paying down on your car loan. But it's definitely, extra money that is essentially going in your pocket because more money is not coming out of your own pocket. Of course, then there are also rate buy downs. What could be a 6.5% or 7% interest rate on the open market with a builder could be as low as 4.5%, 5.5%. And that is a long-term savings that you're making simply because that builder wanted your business and was willing to buy down the rate to do it. Another thing to keep in mind is warranties. With new builds, you get lots of warranties. You might be talking about structural warranties from the day the house is built. You're going to have a lot of warranties on the exterior of the home, the roofing, the foundation of the house, and so on and so forth. Then there's appliance warranties, interior warranties, which is going to do everything from nail pops to water intrusion, anything of that nature. It's another reason why hiring a realtor is a really good idea for you, because things that you may not think about, a realtor is going to look at with a fine-tooth comb and make sure that you're getting the best deal and the best warranty to cover you for many years in the future. And with a resale home, you're not going to have those options. That's why a new build definitely wins in this area. But if you do find a home that you really fall in love with that is a resale, maybe it has mature landscaping, beautiful decor and upgrades within the house, or even a pool on the outside of the house, or a screened-in porch, who knows? Everything I just described are things that you're most likely not going to get with a builder. They're things that you personally are going to have to add to the home, and that of course costs money. So you do have to be really careful that you're making the right decision financially when it comes to buying a house and what kind of house you want to have. Another area that you really want to make sure that you seriously look at and consider in terms of costs is your home insurance. Brand new build homes are going to have the latest builder standards in terms of code for hurricane protection, possibly impact windows, lots of things like that that can really lower your insurance costs and make a world of difference in how much money it takes over the long term to be able to live in that house. Of course, with a resale home, you do need to be concerned about a variety of things you may not have thought about, like the age of the roof, the age of the air conditioning, even the age of the hot water heater. These are things that insurance companies care a great deal about, will charge you a lot more, or even give you a flat out denial if they're not in good shape on a home you're considering. So definitely something you want to think of, and definitely a reason why a realtor will help you out. What about upkeep? With a resale home, you're of course at the whim or the responsibility of a previous owner. How well have they taken care of it? And what kind of records have they kept? If you go to a resale home and you see that they have records of every time the AC guy was there to take a look at the air conditioning and check on it on a yearly basis, if they have records of every time they bought something that was an upgrade to the house, you know you have a really responsible homeowner that's probably going to really help you out when it comes to insurance rates. Of course, this is also where a great home inspector makes a world of difference. And it does not matter whether I'm talking about a new home or a resale home. A great home inspector can make a world of difference in what you end up buying versus what you can negotiate before you buy. Of course, a new build is a little bit like a clean slate, but there should be no surprises, and at least not right away, which is why that inspector will make a difference. That said, don't assume that a new build is 100% move-in ready and you don't have to drop a dime other than maybe to paint a wall. Many builders nowadays don't necessarily include all the little things that you don't think about. Actually, they may not even be that little, like a refrigerator or a washer dryer. What about the pool that you really, really want? Does it have one already, or is it something you need to build? That, of course, can be upwards of $50,000 to $100,000. But there can be little things too. What about drawer pulls, towel bars, a glass enclosure in the showers? There's lots of little things nowadays that different builders may not pay for that will go into your pocket in order to get them once you own the house, and definitely is something you need to think about when it comes to the overall cost and how much money you need to still have after you close on the house to get it the way you want it. Location is one thing where resale homes really shine. Because they were there first, they most likely have a better location in comparison to going beachside, and being in a more mature neighborhood that is more established, has no other building going on, so there's no construction noise, already has a lot of those things that you kind of take for granted until you're in a brand new development that doesn't have these things. Of course, it's not just what's near the water. You have to be concerned about where the local schools are, where a grocery store may be, and even where your favorite restaurant is going to be. Of course, with a new build, if you're willing to do a drive until things get more established, go for it. Buy that house, save that money, but just be ready. You will spend more time in the car. In the Palm Bay area, most of the major new build developments that are going up right now are on the far west side or far south side of Palm Bay. So getting to things like the Melbourne airport or the beach or even your favorite restaurant again may take you longer than you really thought through. And don't forget about the construction noise. If it really bothers you, or if you work from home and you don't want to have all that noise in the background while you're talking to the boss on a Zoom call, you definitely want to consider that when it comes to whether or not they're going to be building a house right next door to you while you're on that phone call. Of course, none of this is one size fits all. We haven't even talked about yet the planned communities versus living in a scatter lot home. You know, the beauty of a planned community is many times they include lots of amenities like a swimming pool, a fitness center, even tennis courts or bocce ball courts, even walking paths. They're really nice things, but of course they include an extra cost with your HOA. Another thing to take into account when you're looking at that bottom line. If you don't like living within a bunch of rules in the community, you want more yard space, then maybe a scatter home is more likely to be what you're looking for. And then you have to worry about things like making sure that you already like the neighbors that are there while they're building your house. Not only is it a good area, is it close to where you want to be, but is the neighborhood good? Are there newer homes versus older homes? How is your resale value going to be reflected in what the entire neighborhood looks like? So how do you choose? Well, obviously we've touched on a lot of different things, and you need to make a list and think about not only what the purchase price is, what the buy down rate might be, what the resale cost will be, but then don't forget to think about things that you need to do to the house, how much it's going to cost to get it the way you want it. And that's true whether you're talking about a resale or a new build home. You know, if you don't like carpet in the bedrooms, how much will it cost you to replace that with tile and grout or luxury vinyl plank or whatever it is you want? Everything has a price tag, and you want to make sure that you're prepared for that. Of course, insurance costs, warranties, location, all these things are things you need to consider before you make that purchase. What do I always tell my clients? Focus on what you can't change, like the location, the lot size, what school zone you're in, things like that. The other things are workable over time. Even if you don't have the money right now, you can obviously save up to be able to put in that brand new swimming pool you've been dying to have. Of course, you could also consider buying a home that's in a neighborhood that has a pool in the neighborhood. And what about upkeep? A resale may have many beautiful established landscaping and a pool already built and things like that. Of course, that also means that you are inheriting someone else's maintenance history. I love it when I find a builder that has date by date everything that they have done to the house since they lived there. It really gives you a feel for how much they care about the house and how well they've taken care of things. Has the air conditioning system been looked at every year and you know it's in great shape? Or has it been 15 years since it was installed, since anybody went out to go take a look at it and clean the filter or check the Freon? Definitely something to consider when you're looking at a resale home. Of course, this is where a good inspector can really play a crucial role. If you're thinking about buying a resale home, I definitely recommend that you get an inspector. Actually, even if you're buying a brand new home, an inspector can be absolutely invaluable in finding things you didn't see or didn't even think about, things that can be a long-term problem for you if it's not dealt with now before you ever even buy the house. If you're still torn between new or resale, let's talk. Give me a call or send me an email and let's discuss what your needs are, what your desires are, and what your budget looks like. I'm sure we can help find something that works for you as long as you're willing to really consider all the things that go into purchasing a new home. Of course, there's no pressure, no sales pitch, just an honest conversation. Whether or not you hire me as your realtor, I'm here for you, and that's why I made this channel. Don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons, and go ahead and get the relocation guide. It doesn't cost you a cent. There's not 30 people going to be calling you afterwards. I just want to be able to help you make a decision that really, really works for you and you don't regret in the long term. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you the next time around.